Well, terrifying new details emerging around this video of what appears to be armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. Now, the town's mayor confirms that several buildings have been overtaken by gang members. But Colorado's Democratic governor is dismissing the outrage and the fear. Let's go live to William Lajeunesse, who has the latest on this developing story. William.
Well, Emily, when people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about. But for some context, I want to say part of this all began when the Biden-Harris administration began releasing Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelans after immigrants arriving from those countries went from 17,000 in 2020 to 600,000 in 2022, overwhelming the border and ICE facilities because we couldn't send them back. So you're seeing the result. Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole, but they stopped that in July because migrants were lying on applications. U.S. sponsors were using fraudulent identities, including dead people, to sponsor them, and traffickers and gangs were demanding payment from those they sponsored. And the mayor of Aurora now blames the federal government for letting these people in.
It's that intimidation factor. We've got Venezuelan gang members who have gone into an apartment complex where there's a concentration of Venezuelans and pushed out the property management through intimidation, and now they're intimidating the tenants there to pay them the rent and probably extort other things from them.
They are patrolling these complexes with guns. They go in, they beat up the staff, they hold guns to their heads, staff flees.
So Colorado Governor Jared Polis says they're wrong, and it's part of a misinformation campaign. Here's his statement. Quote, over the last month, Governor Polis has been in regular contact with the city of Aurora and the police and has offered state assistance to support their efforts if requested. He really hopes that the city council stop trashing their own city when they are supposed to keep it safe. We know violent crime in Aurora went down between 2022 and 23 and expect the data will show further declines in 24. And the recent misinformation campaign threatens actual criminal investigations and could hurt the climate for small businesses in Aurora. The local DA says the governor is wrong. They are prosecuting Venezuelan gang members for home invasion, burglary, kidnapping, theft, extortion, and that may be part of what you're seeing here, right? The gangs are collecting debts from migrants that they sponsored. Emily?
Frightening, William. Thank you so much. All right, Paul, break it down. How did this happen? What are we looking at there?
First of all, let's recognize something. They restarted the program that William just said that they suspended. They just restarted it. So we're getting 30,000 new arrivals, every month from those four nations. Let's look at them: Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Haiti. Cuba doesn't talk to us, so therefore nobody's vetted because we can't find anything out. Venezuela, same exact thing. Haiti, run by criminal gangs. Nicaragua, run by Daniel Ortega, hates the country, socialist dictator. You're telling me that the 30,000 that arrived, they're vetted? That's the claim now. We restarted this after saying, you know what, it doesn't work. It's full of fraud. Now we're supposed to believe it works. Obviously, it doesn't work. Classic gang tactic. Take over some terrain, control it. A building is great because you have people working for you. They can call out when the cops come. You can run guns, drugs, women, all the stuff these guys do. We have an international problem here, not a national problem. It's a national security problem. We need task forces, just like we had JTTFs after 9/11. Locals and feds put together and get rid of these guys. Otherwise, they're going to be entrenched like the mafia. We won't get rid of them for decades.
Molly, talk to me about this condescension coming from the governor, who dares to say, oh, hey, no, don't believe your eyes. Don't believe this video with these armed huge guns. The statistics say everything's fine. Talk to me about that gaslighting.
Yeah, exactly. This is next level stuff. It's absolutely incredible. This coming from the governor's office. They talk about the crime statistics as if this is supposed to make the people in this building feel better in any way. But according to police intelligence, the purported invasion is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. The city councilor goes after the people that are trying to help. And what is absolutely mind-blowing is then the other officials have to get involved and say, no, these people are not crazy. This isn't an imagination. The mayor says the situation is real. The DA, the district attorney, says that, no, it's not imaginary. So they have to push back on what people can see with their own eyes.
And that's so condescending due to people. Once again, I am from the Midwest. I'm from South Dakota, neighbor to Colorado. And I have family members that live in the Denver area, and they're terrified. They're horrified at what their state has become. And you know who's most horrified? Is young women. Young women are horrified. Can you imagine being a young woman or a single mother that lived in that apartment complex? Imagine what that must be like. And a lot of people live in these apartment complexes because guess what? They can't afford homes. They can't afford to live anywhere else. This is going to be a growing problem. I don't have to remind all of you that we have millions of migrants in this country. And right now, they're being put up in shelters, maybe hotels in New York. But at some point, that's going to run out. And then you're going to have millions of people that need somewhere to go. And you're going to have millions of young migrants who need somewhere to belong. And to your point, I'm fearful that some of them are going to fall into gang activity through desperation, through belonging, through whatever you want to call it. This is just beginning. This is about to get so much worse. And winter is coming, so people are going to get even more desperate, especially in cities like New York City.
Winter is coming. Literally and figuratively, Leslie, this is frightening. And my question to you is, why err on the side of saying, oh, no, this is just an outlier situation, when calling it or underscoring or at least believing the DA that say, yes, this is an organized crime, all that does is escalate or flip the switch for resources, for charges, so that these people can remain behind bars and allow single women and everyone else to actually thrive. Why would you err on the side of risking safety for a talking point?
Well, even though I am a liberal Democrat, I don't always agree with my party, people in my party. I'm actually very conservative on crime, and I would agree that you need to take these guys out. This is definitely the way a shakedown happens, whether, it's a gang, back in the day, the mafia. But, statistically, he may be accurate, but when you just look at what the people are feeling, there are feelings and there are facts with the economy. But the facts are the people not just living in that building, but in that section of Aurora, they're concerned, they're frightened. And as the governor who's responsible for his people, he does need to address that, just as, the mayor obviously is there in Aurora.
Yeah, I just wish he had addressed it with a little more deference, I guess, to those boots on ground that are.
And remember, when they say that the border encounters are down, remember something. It's because they're flying them in.
Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host Harris